de Gigión. El servicio parece pasado. Nuevo centro. ¡Gol!
Hello, and welcome back to some chai and some biscuits. Today we're going to talk about some Champions League matches. I think it was one of the highest scoring quarterfinals ever. There were like 18 goals, no clean sheets, 2 draws, 1 home win, and 1 away win. Really good matches. I don't think anybody was bored in any of these matches. Some of us were sort of worried, annoyed that we couldn't watch the other match because the placing of the fixtures was a bit hard, but I don't think they could have done anything. But before we get into that, let me introduce the other co-hosts. We have Sandy back. Must be because United did well against Liverpool. Hello, Sandy.
Hello. Yeah, I mean it was okay, but yeah, overall we were expecting a big loss, but a 2-2 draw. It's good.
And we have Abhishek,
Hey everyone.
just back from the watching the Barcelona game just a few hours ago.
Yep. I slept it well after the match, so I'm ready to go.
Okay, first up we have Real Madrid and Manchester City. So just to give a review, it ended amazingly 3-3. It was at the Bernabeu. City scored off first, obviously, but I think the comebacks that each team had was quite exhilarating, thrilling for everybody who was watching. What I had going was I had 2 screens, one with the Arsenal game and one with this game. But obviously, I was focusing on the Arsenal game. But the goals that they were showing was incredible, some of them. How did you think
Yep.
the match went, Abhishek?
The match was amazing actually. It started off with a really good Bernardo Silva uh, goal. I think Lunin was overcommitted on the goal for Bernardo Silva. But other after that, as soon as after that, Madrid responded, and with Vinicius finding Rodrigo, and Akanji was caught watching the man, and it was a really good goal from Rodrigo. And before that, we had I missed that. Sorry. Before that, we had Kamavinga, who was exceptional during the match, and his ball carrying ability and his, I would say, uh, shot, which was actually deflected and ended up being a Ruben Diaz goal, was pretty good because nobody was taking those spot shots, and we all know Stefan Ortega is a little bit untested in Champions League matches, especially at Bernabeu. So it was really good. And then I guess it was a really, I would say, end-to-end matches with a lot of chances that Vinicius and Rodrigo should have converted, because when I look back at it, the match could have ended at 5-3 in favor of Real Madrid because of the chances that Vinicius and Rodrigo squandered, but it ended up being 3-3. And I think we didn't have any goals for after 14th minute of the match, and the next goal was a City comeback after the half, which was an amazing goal by Foden. I think all the goals after in second half should have been like a Puskas contender of the goal of the game year or something, because once Foden found the top corner, it was I think Guardiol hitting it with his right foot corner, and then it
Yeah,
was Fede with his amazing volley. Like,
Fede.
it was crazy.
Yeah, I think some of these goals are incredible. But to start with the first one, Bernardo Silva, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting him to take that shot, and Lunin definitely was not expecting. And I think that showed his inexperience at this level. And on the other hand, like Silva does really well in these crunch games that uh, against big oppositions. I think he might not always turn up against the smaller oppositions. That's what I feel. But in the big matches, you can always depend on him. and the rest of the game was, like you said, end to end. Did you think that at home, because they drew at home, they would have felt disappointed that they weren't able to get a win? Because now to go to Etihad and get some City of Manchester Stadium and get a result is going to be hard. No.
Yeah, I think so, but still, a 3-3 against Manchester City any day, I'll take that result. For me, because second leg, and especially, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the games became more open and more high scoring, especially in Champions League after they removed the away goals rule, right? So uh, right now, yeah, right now
Yeah,
the
good job.
like it doesn't matter even if City scored 3 goals in Bernabeu, right? It used to be a big deal, but it doesn't matter now. So it's the
Yeah,
same
true,
case
true.
other way around, right? If even in Etihad, there is always, although City are very extremely strong there, you have noticed last weekend, like the where Arsenal had a clean sheet, or like they were still vulnerable. So at Etihad, but again, Champions League is a different thing, and we always remember one of the best performances last season at Etihad, especially the first half against Real Madrid. The way the City played the game, it was amazing. And if they did do that again, they'll definitely go through. But again, this is a different city. This and we still don't know if Kyle Walker will be available. And in this fixture, Carlo Ancelotti made a surprise decision by playing Vinny as a number 9, right? Like they noticed that Rodrigo and Vinny were interchanging. I was surprised because, especially because Kyle Walker was not there. I thought he would play from the left wing to attack Akanji, but still, like they stuck with the plan. I think they had a plan to play Vinny as number 9 and interchange with Rodrigo and Bellingham. So it'll be interesting again, like the second leg.
Yeah, about the City of Manchester Stadium, I don't think anybody, like Arsenal keeping a clean sheet there is a rarity. So Real Madrid can't expect to keep one or something similar there. And like you said, it is a very hard fixture. I think you're right about Ancelotti mixing things up, because without Walker, it would have been hard to keep Vinicius in check. Do you think that this shows that Mbappe on the left is a good option? Because I think on the left side it was sort of missing for Real Madrid compared to how they have played in the past with Vinicius.
Yeah, but again, Mbappe had a disaster game today against Barcelona, right? So, uh, I mean, Kunde and Araujo were there to keep him in check. So, again, these are very big games, and Vinny is a big game player. I think he scored or assisted in all the Champions League knockout games he played till now. So, I still feel like Vinny is on a very high level, but I think the positioning wise, he started from the center, so that 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 could have made it. That might have been a difference if he started from the left, and they could have won it, but we don't know. Like, I mean, small things, right? Small details. Even for City, you have Stones and Walker missing, and then Kevin De Bruyne dropped off last minute. So,
Stones wasn't missing. Stones played.
oh yeah, 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 sorry, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Stones.
but KDB dropping out at the last moment was actually like a surprise for Pep. I think he probably had a game plan with KDB in mind, and then suddenly KDB
Got
left,
sick,
so he
right?
had to get, yeah, got sick before right before the kickoff. So Kovacic had to come in, and I think his game plan completely changed, and that's why they had to rely on these outrageous goals by Foden and Guardiola to keep the score steady. But yeah, kudos to Ancelotti to get Vinny as a false nine, drop deep, and have people run in from back, because City do keep a high line and Rodrigo is really quick. So yeah, definitely good tactic from Ancelotti.
But don't you think Bellingham could have played number 9 Vinny on left and Rodrigo on right. Do could how do you think that could have played out?
You needed extra players in midfield to defend the passing lanes or cut off the passing lanes. So Bellingham's most of the work was defending those passing lanes, cutting out those passing lanes, being an extra man. So since Rodri was moving into those lanes, so I think Ancelotti really did get it right with Bellingham. But the thing is, Bellingham wasn't doing his usual roles that he plays with La Liga teams. So he was defending more, and then I think it was pretty good tactic, I would say, for the first half. And if not for chances being squandered by Vinny and Rodrigo, even the early second half, it could have easily turned out to Madrid's way. And and Pep would be really happy with the result for sure.
What do you think Pep did differently?
Um, it's not about what he did different. It's about how he had to adapt. I guess without Kyle Walker to keep Vinicius in check, and without KDB. Yeah.
De Bruyne?
I think Foden played a really good role, and so did Stones. And Rodri had a really terrible game for somebody who has always had like 100 games on games like this. He needs a rest for sure. Looking at him, it felt like his legs have run out. I think after post match, he did say that we players like us, we need a rest some days. Yeah. So I guess it was more. It wasn't like last time where it was head on, where City were really dominant. And I guess I have to give a shout out
Mhm.
to Rudiger to keep Haaland in check again, like last season. Haaland didn't show up again this match, so I'm hoping that in the return leg at Etihad he would be probably more effective with KDB coming back into the lineup.
Some of these matchups, like the centre backs last weekend with Arsenal and Haaland, uh, they're doing quite well if you know exactly how Haaland is going to perform. Because to not have scored a goal in multiple Arsenal games this season, and to have not scored a goal in this game especially, it's it sort of shows Haaland up. I feel, because if you're a strong centre back, if you're a quick centre back, and if you stay tight to him, you can get a result from him. You can keep him quiet. No?
Agree. I mean, the same thing happened in the Champions League final also, right? Even semifinals and finals last season. Even in the uh, big games this season too. Even against Liverpool, I don't think he scored. Even against Arsenal, he didn't score. So yeah, there is a way to contain him for sure, but that's what big players do, right? I mean, you all of a sudden one game you will have all of a sudden one he'll show up, and that's when you start comparing him to the greatest strikers again, or at least the current best strikers again. So it's a matter of time until he figures out a solution. I feel is still one of the best strikers in the world right now. So uh, yes, you, yeah, you can contain
Yeah,
him,
true,
but
true.
there is that second leg that at Etihad, that too.
Yeah, and he has a manager that can adapt things for him.
Yeah, that's correct. I, but do you guys think uh, KDB dropping out, Kevin De Bruyne dropping out in the last minute was a good thing for City, and at least this season, because I felt Foden is in the form of his life this season, and at the same time, Kevin De Bruyne is not having a great season, lot of injuries, and he substituted him at Anfield also because they were losing control. And even during Arsenal game, he didn't perform that well. So we, could City have? We are saying that City didn't have control, but they still had 70% possession, right? So do you think having Kevin De Bruyne in the team would have they would have lost more balls, and that could have resulted in more counter attacks.
The good thing about City is that even if Haaland and KDB are kept quiet, there are quality players across the board who will show up with a goal. I think that's shown clearly today. Foden obviously scores a lot. Silva with his goal, Guardiola with his incredible goal at the end. It shows that even if the main players, so to say, keep quiet, the others really show up. That's on Pep because even like you said, they had 70% possession. They controlled the game. They did let in a lot of chances, more than earlier seasons, but they can get a result even when their best players are not performing at the level that you expect them to.
Yep, I agree. Actually, I know that Foden has been on a red hot scoring form, but I do believe KDB is a different breed. While Foden is very effective in some zones, like right next to the box and probably on the wings, KDB is effective on the wings where he overlaps and gives crosses. He's effective from the midfield where he can just lob a through ball or give a cross, which is insane from half line. He can also, get the game running, like carry the ball, run it the entire pitch, and score a goal. So he does three things, which is at the like top of his game. So if you're comparing what Foden and what KDB brings, I would say KDB is still like way higher, even though Foden has you know come up really well this season.
So you think for second leg, Foden should be on the wing or should be on the bench in for Kevin De Bruyne?
So the one thing that I noticed was with Jack Grealish and Carvajal, it was a really good duel last season. It was this season as well, but they didn't. Real Madrid are very heavy on the left side, so they are very left-sided centered attack. So City didn't make use of this because Carvajal was mostly alone most of the time and marking Grealish. So if they had somebody overlapping from the left hand side, if they had somebody making runs like how Sterling makes or Vinicius makes for Madrid in this case, it would be pretty good. So I believe Foden should play on the left
Mhm.
in Etihad and have him run against Carvajal, give him some trouble because he was having a lot of possession in City's half, which would be contained in Etihad. So I believe Foden should start on the left instead of Grealish, or maybe even Doku, um, and have. I would say KDB and Bernardo play. I think Bernardo also needs a rest because he didn't have a really good game uh, against uh, Real Madrid. He did score the goal, but he had a lot of possessions that he lost in like bad areas of the pitch, which resulted in counterattacks from Real Madrid. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to rest him for against Madrid. What do you think about what about having uh, Chouameni as the center back pick from Ancelotti instead of Nacho?
Uh, I think it was a very good decision because Germany is physical and they have that midfield cover, right? Cruz and Kamavinga can cover the defensive portion that Chouameni usually does, and Chouameni is more taller, so that you have cover for crossing for Erling Haaland also. So. Uh, I think it's a very good choice. He can play, he can do both, and Real Madrid have enough depth in midfield to leave the void left by Germany.
Yeah, before we move on to the next game, I think the we have to talk about the two uh, players who didn't really perform well as much as we expect them to. That would be Bellingham and to a lesser extent Lunin, because Lunin has been performing well, but this game he showed his inexperience, his composure was lacking, but I think that can be given off due to his inexperience. But to focus on Bellingham for such a long run. He had a incredible scoring streak, assisting streak. You could rely on him to um, come up with the goods. But in this game, he was missing a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Bellingham, I think, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, it was not his unusual role of carrying the ball out and working, but he did have this tendency to get frustrated if some of the passes doesn't work out, some of the plays don't work out the way he envisions it, so he just throws some tantrums. I sometimes think that he is equivalent to how Bruno plays in the game, very very passionate while making the decisions. So if something doesn't work out the way he thinks it is, he gets angry and sometimes makes rash challenges and rash decisions as well. There was a time where Bellingham could have capitalized, where I think Ortega gave a wrong pass and it was intercepted by Mendy, I believe, and it could have resulted in a goal because Ortega was completely outside his post, and I think Bellingham made a wrong choice there. But anyway, um, I do feel that he's still a really good. I mean, of course, he's still one of the best Madrid have, and there is always a return leg in Etihad where he can do the damage. People sometimes forget that it's not really, it is very hard to perform every game throughout the season. Sometimes you have a bad day, so I'll consider that as a bad day.
Okay, on to another big game, Arsenal and Bayern. It was at the Arsenal Stadium. Arsenal started off well, sort of faded a bit in the middle, and then, but Bayern's efficiency was incredible. They, with the shots they had, they were able to take control. They went ahead from behind, and they had to rely on one last roll of the dice from Arteta's subs to come up with a draw. I feel that Arsenal did well considering the situation, but that's not the case that everybody is looking at.
Um, I think, the match was entertaining for sure. I always, maintain that Tuchel is a, kind of like a knockout specialist. He reminds me of a young Mourinho a bit, but Mourinho was way successful. But the point is, the way he set up the team against Arsenal, it kind of played. It kind of played into his hands, in a way of saying, like, uh, they sat deep, they, created a mid block, and as soon as they cut off the pass, they started those transitions with Harry Kane creating a, running lane for Sane and Gnabry. So yeah, it was a pretty good game plan considering the midfield strength Tuchel has compared to what Arteta has. Like, I think Arteta has like two CDMs or three CDMs, if I'm not wrong, and um, uh, Tuchel has, I think, no CDMs at all except for Lima, who did have a good game. Um, all in all, I would say it was a good setup by Tuchel, but I think Arsenal should have done way better to contain the phases of the game, and that was because of the inexperience they have of all the youth they have in the team. Bayern managed the phases really well. So, for example, when Arsenal was 2-1 down in the first half, and after Arteta got his substitutions bang on, the Jesus, just turned the game. It was 2-2. And following those 15 minutes, Arsenal stadium was rocking. Arsenal were playing really well, but they couldn't capitalize on that moment and score a goal. So I think those moments are something that you have to capture or capitalize on in matches like Champions League. And that's what I will take away from this game, that it's a little bit inexperience was shown by Arteta's man.
Yeah, I agree completely. I feel that the experience clearly showed, and the fact that it was such a huge occasion for the players, because some of them were playing in the knockouts, the big knockouts against a big team for the first time, and not just that, for Arsenal to be playing in quarterfinals after 14 years, it's a big deal. And obviously, the players felt it from the fans, right? Because there was hardly any Bayern fans in the ground, and apparently, I heard one of the podcasters say that it was very loud. It was one of the loudest, more than the other games that they were in recently, like against City or Liverpool. So, because it was such a big game, it clearly showed. But they were still able to go ahead with the goal.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, like that's too much pressure, also, right? For Arsenal, to be fair, 14 years, first quarter final ever, and the first, like, the team is doing so well after so long, right? So there is so much pressure that you have to keep up with, and to be fair with Arsenal, they did really well. I mean, they competed, which we didn't see from so many years, and they were able to dominate both in and out of position. And I like the way Arteta lined up also, like with Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard, like how he's usually doing. Even against City, it was very similar. So, and in that way, like, you are getting uh, good substitutions also, right? I always feel Trossard is a really good impact player. He's very effective in the box. If you give him a chance, he will score, right? So,
Yeah,
so
love him.
that's there. That's there. And for me, the score also, because the away goals rule is not there anymore, right? So
Yeah,
2-2, scoring two goals in Emirates doesn't matter anymore. So
yeah.
for Bayern, so it will be a very open contest, I feel, in Allianz Arena. So Tuchel cannot play low block or medium block. They'll have to go and attack, and they'll have to win the game. And it's Allianz Arena, so you will have to uh, you will have to attack. Uh, eh, and you are home, right? You will have to attack, and that will give you amazing opportunities on counter for Arsenal to go ahead, because the thing is, Arsenal can be really good in counters. We saw glimpses of it on against City, where they played low block and their defensive structure was really good. So Saliba and Gabriel, we were discussing in our last episode that it can be one. It's considered one of the top best center back partnerships in the world right now. So you can, if you have a very solid defensive structure and do counters, we saw what Dortmund did last week, right? So there is always a chance for Arsenal to go for the win in Bayern.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I always wanted to, see was being protagonist from Arteta, show a little bit of effort, and I think having two CDMs there was not something I expected. What about Rohit? Rohit, what are your views on the lineup? Do you see that as a good lineup to start with? Because the changes were really, really effective, but I believe uh, they should have started with one less CDM.
I think this lineup has done really well, especially after the turn of the year. Their run of games with scoring so many goals, um, conceding very few. 2 goals is the highest they've conceded in the whole season. So this is something crazy. I think very efficient from Bayern. One thing I do disagree with was the left back. Yes, I think that's what Arteta was going with, because Kivior has done well recently. I was actually expecting Tomiyasu to start, but Tomiyasu clearly is not fit enough to start this game. Maybe Zinchenko, because what Kivior did clearly did not make Arteta happy, so he was substituted at halftime. Zinchenko came on. They had better control, I would say. If they had started, we don't know if Zinchenko started, that would mean that they, with Jorginho, Rice, and Odegaard, the midfield would have been packed with more control. Maybe they would have had better outcome.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kivior was in, I would say, in the mistake for giving away that penalty that Sane actually ended up, running with the ball. That shouldn't have happened. But Kivior is still young and inexperienced, like I mentioned earlier. So I don't personally think he even expected to start this game. There were so many other like choices, like you mentioned, Tomiyasu and of course Zinchenko, who came on in the second half. Um, but I'd also like to point out that in the last podcast I mentioned that Saliba and Gabriel have done really well domestically. Um, and they had to be tested on a Champions League level or a quarterfinals level, and which ended up being actually a little bad compared to what they do in domestic. They didn't have a really good performance, and even though they did keep Kane quiet because Kane didn't have any involvement whatsoever. But his off the ball runs, off the shoulder runs were pretty good, which actually opened up lanes for Gnabry and Sane to run into. Um, Sandy, what are your thoughts on the game overall? What about Tuchel's play, and how? What do you think about Tuchel's substitutions compared to Arteta's?
Yeah, like I was saying, I feel it's a very balanced tie now. I still think like they have a really good chance, Arsenal to go through, although it's in Bayern Munich home. Yes, it's Champions League, different competition altogether. But we saw how Bayern performed against Dortmund, right? So uh, you, I'd say be conservative like how Arsenal did at Etihad, but be more aggressive on the counters. Then I still feel Arsenal have a very big chance to qualify. And if I have to choose, I think I'll choose Arsenal. My bet would be on Arsenal to go through because of how Tuchel is lining up this season, especially right. Like so, uh, okay, he started with Eric Dyer and Delete, right? So that centre backs partnership, and he's benching Upamecano and Kim. So y- yeah, I mean, like Upamecano made mistakes last season in the Champions League, but still, I think he's a very top class centre back, at least compared with Eric Dyer. And you saw how Eric Dyer opened up for Saka in the first fifth minute, right? So in the fifth minute, it's so there is that vulnerability that you can always utilize. Uh, if he goes with Dyer, and if he plays attacking high line, Dyer never has that experience even with Tottenham also. So Arsenal can exploit that and play on the counters, and I'm pretty sure they'll have a very big chance to score a goal at least. So coming to the game, right? Like there were two controversial incidents. I would love to get your take on that, Rohit. So was that a penalty to Saka, or should Bayern had a penalty for Gabriel's handball?
Okay, I think let's go chronologically. I think the Gabriel one. Yes, I think technically it could have been a penalty, but Tuchel going on about it is very childish. I think, like in the spirit of the game, it's just silly. You can't really expect to score a goal like that. And many pundits came out and said that the referee did the job with common sense. Like if you expect a goal like that, if you expect a penalty like that in a Champions League quarterfinal, it's just it's referee apparently told them that it was a childish mistake. Yeah, it was a childish mistake. But that is exactly how Arsenal actually do take goal kicks. So usually Raya starts it off and then he passes it to Gabriel to take the goal kick. And Gabriel takes the goal kick, passes it to Raya, and usually Gabriel goes off to the left, so players can push in on Raya. Opposition players can push in on Raya, and then Raya makes a good pass to his teammates. This is how they have always turned up throughout the season. Yes, in this case, right after the whistle went, he kicked it to Gabriel.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was wondering because, like you said, it was a childish mistake on Arsenal's part, but the referee giving that explanation to Tuchel, saying that it is childish and it's a Champions League quarterfinal, I'm not going to give a penalty for that. He applied context to it, but it could be flipped. The script could be flipped to say, okay, it's a Champions League quarterfinal. You're professionals. You're not supposed to make that kind of mistakes, silly mistakes or childish mistakes. So if you see it technically, like you said, it could be a penalty, but I don't know, from the, if you look it from the law, or how the football is played, it could have been a penalty.
So I was looking up if it has ever been given in a Champions League game before. It was never. And there was one game where something similar happened. Not the exact same thing, but something similar. So in the second league of, I think, the German division, one substitute player just behind the goal line on the side, he touched it as the ball was going out, and the ref, after VAR intervened, they did give a penalty. So I think if you look back in the last few years, there has been one case, and in a second division, I think at the top level you can't really expect this. And Tuchel going on about it is just very, very, very. I think he was the one being childish to ask a goal like that, to ask a penalty like that.
Yeah, I think it is it. To be honest, yeah, it is childish, but at the same time, to look at it from Tuchel's point of view, he has a point to prove, right? I always think that he firing Nagelsmann for Tuchel and giving him the job and him proving a point is putting too much pressure on him, and this all and him leaving at the end of the season, everything is adding up for him to behave like this. But again, like, yeah, like, I'd say no, but if you go by the law, then maybe you have to give it. But yeah, not on this level, definitely. What about Saka?
The Saka's one is a bit more controversial, I think. I think the first one was a definite no. This one, I think, is really 50-50 because if we go back the earlier, like even last week, the Liverpool United game, I thought so. When Elliot sort of dived for the penalty, so to start off with, Elliot actually initiated the dive even before the contact.
Mm-hmm.
So he clearly dived and then felt the contact and then fell. I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty, but I'm saying that Elliot initiated it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In this case, I think that Saka went past Neuer, and he could have scored. He should have scored, whatever. If we see different angles, there are some where it looks like Saka is actually stretching out to reach Neuer's leg. In some other angles, I think that Neuer definitely reaches out to reach Saka, and Saka basically just runs like that. I think that Saka did not initiate it. So I feel that it could have been a penalty, but I don't know. I think that we see this given all the time. And the fact that it wasn't given is definitely a disappointment. So I'm saying more so it should be.
A small correction. I think it's given all the time in Premier League or domestic leagues, but I guess it's not or it should not be followed in the Champions League. Because you brought up the Harvey Elliott case. Um, I don't know. I'm not seen that video well to judge, but I do feel these kind of cases should not have been resulting in a penalty. Somebody at the Reddit said he went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, even I've watched it from different angles and multiple times, and I I felt like yes, I think I have a different view from you, Rohit. I think Saka initiated the penalty, like he initiated the dive or a contact with with Neuer after going past him, but the fact is he didn't have anywhere else to go. So it didn't look obvious on the camera that he didn't have anywhere else to go, but really he didn't have anywhere else to go. I know I said it three times, but uh, he dribbled past Neuer and he had to be in contact with him and fall down. There was no way for him to go and score that at that point. Neuer already came way too far, is what I felt. So, eh, yes, he initiated the move, which made it look like he dived, but to be honest, it was not a dive. Is what I felt. I think it should be a penalty. Is what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, I agree. Because he actually stayed on his feet for a very similar run against Liverpool, against Alisson. And he stayed on his feet. And it ended up not being a goal because the defenders got back. They did a very good job. But he was tackled by the goalkeeper at that point. But he stayed on his feet. And Saka usually stays on his feet all the time. I think that he was trying to dribble past him, but that's the question, right? It's a question of did he initiate it or not. And so I don't know if you guys follow this guy, DL Johnson. He works for ESPN, and they get sort of a context from the VAR. So VAR actually provides that context to him, and that's the reason that they gave as well, that it looks like Saka initiated the contact, and that's why it's not a penalty. And it was literally at the very end of the game, right?
Yep. Mhm.
So I understand completely that it was not a penalty.
Right, right. But going from there, I would like to end on asking you something about the return leg. In your point of view as an Arsenal fan, I believe I have a different view to what Sandy mentioned, where uh, I feel like uh, Arsenal is not going to sit deep and hit on transitions. I believe they're going to go out and play their game because Munich don't look like they dominate in Allianz, and I think personally Arsenal have a better chance of going through if they play their game, and they're way better doing that instead of transitions, because in transitions you need like all of the things to be perfectly executed. So I mean, it might work on the night, but I think the it's a gamble, right? The better chance for them to go through would be to play their game, I believe. What do you prefer? How should Arteta line up, and how do you think the game would pan out in the return leg?
The great thing about Arsenal is, even Rob Edwards mentioned this, the coach of Luton recently. He said that Arsenal have different ways of playing, and they usually do that very well. It's great that City, in the City game, Arsenal could sit back, and they did a really good job of sitting back and doing well. They have actually done very well in the away games this season, because they didn't lose at Anfield, they didn't lose at City. So I'm comfortable going to Allianz and sitting deeper and trying to counter. This game, I feel Martinelli did not do a good job. I think the whole left side did not do a good job. There could be many different reasons for it, but I feel that Gabriel Jesus could start next leg, because he actually, like Abhishek said, he does very well when he comes on. He proved like he wanted to prove himself. Like he's always on the go. He's trying to create something out of nothing, and I feel that would be the way to go. Even next game, but that might mean pushing Jorginho out, making Rice sit deep, Havertz in LCM, and Jesus and Martinelli. That's what I think should the way to go forward. So the person controlling could be Zinchenko, and I think we can get a result. It's not hard. We have gotten a result there before. We won 2-0, I think. I don't know if you guys remember or even noticed. Arsenal went on a run of games where they lost out just because of away goals in the Champions League. And I'm glad that away goals, stupid stuff, is out of the contention now. Now you just have to rely on scoring one goal or whatever. Do well in the next game. That's it.
So to answer Abhishek's question, you want Arsenal to play right, like
Deep.
play in their own style, not sit deep.
No. I think they can do a good job in deep, sitting deep. That's what I mean. Like they have done that when going to hard away games, and I think they're comfortable doing that because at the beginning of Arteta's reign, that's how they played, and they can do a good job. So I think that they can do this. The problem is the counter attack. That's what I mean. Like the counter attack has to work well. So in that case, Martinelli and Jesus must start.
Okay. And you think Rice alone can hold the fort, not with Jorginho?
Yes, Rice and
I don't
Zinchenko.
think so.
Okay. I believe that's a different approach. But I want Martinelli to be in the center and Trossard to be on the left because Trossard is a really good finisher and somebody who can take a right decision at the right moment. I feel Martinelli is somebody who runs really well with the ball and can make those runs, and he's also a really good striker of the ball, better than Jesus, I believe. So yeah.
Definitely better than Jesus. Moving on to the next game is PSG versus Barca. It just finished a few hours ago. It was at Parc des Princes and it ended 2-3. It was a win for the away team. I think from our preview a couple of weeks ago, we thought that PSG would win. I definitely thought that PSG would win, and so did Abhishek, I think.
No, I said Barca would go through. I mean, not go through, but win the match. The having, um, seen PSG over the years, they do well away and home. So because of the individual qualities they have, so it's still a open game in Camp Nou. Or yeah.
What I did say was, if you keep Mbappe quiet, you can do well. And that's exactly what happened. Mbappe was kept quiet, and Kunde and Araujo did an amazing job. Did incredible. They performed well throughout the game, kept him quiet. He had to pass more than I think he would have wanted because he couldn't take the shots off as quick as he would have preferred. Okay, to start with, how do you think the game? Are you happy with the gameplay that Xavi took? Obviously, you're happy with the result, Abhishek.
Oh yeah, for sure. Before the game, Enrique took a shot at I guess Xavi, saying that they follow the Barcelona DNA or model of playing way better than Xavi does, and which I believe is right because Enrique relies on playing short passes, which Barcelona were doing, but Barcelona, attack the space, which is what Xavi used to do as a player, and he's doing it as a coach as well. So all long ball passes from Ter Stegen, from you mentioned Araujo and Kunde's work in keeping Mbappe quiet, but I would also like to point out Kubarsi's distribution, which started the first goal of the game.
He was
He
incredible,
Yeah,
incredible composure.
yeah, incredible composure, 17-year-old, and pulling out that pass from our from Barcelona's D to the half line, and then that transition ended up in a goal. So I would like to point out that Xavi's playing style is always attacking the space and doing it faster, and which we ended up doing. Ter Stegen always was also looking for those long passes behind Lewandowski, and that's what Xavi did. He tried to make the three center back pairing that Enrique was going with, and move it around a bit, and that's what what Lewandowski was doing really, really well. And if you compare Haaland and Lewandowski, you would see that Lewandowski had played I would say, a typical number nine role after so many, I would say, years. This is something I was always used to watch Suarez do, a really good hold up play, dropping deep so that you have runners behind, and all of that, makes a good number nine. And that's what he did. And I think this actually played well. And I would also have to say, kudos to Xavi's substitutions. He didn't risk Christensen and Pedri. Uh, and once Pedri got on, the first pass he gave was for the assist to Rafinha, which was amazing. Um, so yeah, all in all, I would say I'm really, really happy with the result. I've been very critical of Xavi's performance in the game because he's drifting away from the Barcelona model. It's not a strict way of playing, but I would say I would have to go the other route, change the script, and actually applaud Xavi and the team for winning an away game. I don't remember the last time we won an away game in a tough fixture like this.
Yeah, I think so too. Uh, the way like Lewandowski played, I completely agree with you. Especially for the first goal, right? Kubarsi passed to Lewandowski, and I think the he he moved, like he dribbled past three or four players, and then he got passed to Yamal, who in fact passed to Rafinha, I guess. So Lewandowski was really good, and one other thing that I really liked was the way he used Frankie. Uh, so Frankie was more of a deep lying playmaker, and Gundogan was moving forward, right? Like more an attacking number eight, and Frankie was covering lot of, like, Dembele's play. I know we used to discuss a lot, where he loses balls a lot of time, or because he's their most attacking player other than Mbappe, who is trying to make the play, right? Mbappe is more like towards the finishing, but Dembele was trying to make the play, and Frankie was always there for interceptions. So like the way that he set up the midfield was also good. Sergi Roberto's selections was interesting, but I don't think the point was, like you said, the Christensen was not that fit enough, right? So so that is why, like, he had to choose Sergi Roberto than or Romeo. I mean, so overall, really good setup by Xavi, and he took it as a challenge, I guess, uh, about what Luis Enrique said. So, and as far as PSG goes, I think they missed Hakimi a lot. So they started with Marquinhos on the right back, and
Mm-hmm.
then for the second half, he switched Marquinhos to center and played Theo Hernandez on the right back, who is traditionally a left-footed player, right? So that was one thing I saw, that they missed a lot, like with Hakimi's what Hakimi will get to the team. um, but but yeah, like, if you first goal of PSG was pure Dembele's magic, right? It dribbled past two players and just scored a banger. But the second goal I felt was typical Luis Enrique. He got all their three midfielders playing together, right? So I think, yeah, he got all the Kim, Vitinha. Kim was the one who passed to Vitinha, and Vitinha scored the goal, and so typical Luis Enrique midfield setup, overload, and then score. So yeah, Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and Kim combined to score their second goal. So it was a really good game, and the way they contained Mbappe was awesome. Both Kunde and Araujo, and that kind of killed PSG's game, right? And if they're able to do that, they should have a really good chance on the second leg.
Yeah, there were quite a few bad performances from PSG, I would say. Mbappe is definitely we spoke about. I think Asensio also didn't do a good job. Uh, what was expected from him there, he was definitely outmarshaled by the centre backs. There is no way that Enrique is going to use the same setup in the next leg. I just don't see it. Another person who did not play well is Donnarumma. There were so many times he came out and completely missed the ball. There was one, I think, for the one of the goals. I definitely thought he should have come out and tried to claim the ball. The number of mistakes he made, I was quite disappointed in him.
You mean for the first goal?
No, yes, for the first goal, but even before that, I think it not end up in a goal. But there was one he came out and he completely missed the ball. I think one of the players
Yeah,
nutmegged him. Yeah, Rafinha.
Rafinha it was.
That meant.
It was Ter Stegen's long ball, and Lewandowski dropped deep, and he just headed it on to Rafinha, who was
Yeah,
making the run from the wing. So, and he almost got the ball, and it's weird to say that you have Ter Stegen on the field and you're still the worst goalkeeper in the game. So it's crazy.
I think you're still going hard with that.
But the standout performer for me was Rafinha, right? So
Yeah.
the second goal with his outside foot, Pedri's pass, and the way he connected it, awesome. Yeah. What did you think of the performance, and why did you curse at Javi for substituting him?
No, actually, no. I actually enjoyed the Rafinha's performance. He has been doing well domestically as well on the left, covering for Felix, who has been in and out of the team, and also Ferran Torres, who who got injured, and he it was his first game back today. I was not angry actually. He did play a really good game, and we needed cover for the left wing. So what Enrique did on in second half was to have Dembele and Mbappe play together a little bit closer to each other, and have Barcola on the right wing. So
Hmm.
Rafinha was gassed by 60-70 minutes, covering both sides. He was switching. When Felix came on, he went to the right wing. So he was gassed covering the first half of the match on the left side, and then on the second half of the match on the right side. So it was a pretty good, I would say, substitution to get Torres on. He defended well. He defended um, Mbappe, and I think Nuno Mendes well. It was puzzling to see though why Mendes never over was not doing those overlapping runs, and I think that was the last minute of the game when Mendes did that, and then he crossed it like few times into the D. In the whole match, I've never seen them cross inside into the D, so it was good. And yeah, like your point, Rafinha, I believe amazing game, and it was lovely to watch. Pedri get back, because as soon as he got back, all of his touches, all of his passes were magic. It's like if he has a meter which pass to select, and he always chooses the best one. So yeah, I'm really happy about that.
Were you happy about any of the PSG performances? Either of you, who do you think performed up to a standard that you can expect? I know Vitinha scored a goal. He did play quite a good game. The other people, not so much. Dembele scored a goal. I would say that Dembele performed the best. Uh, were there any other good performances from them?
I thought Nuno Mendes started well. Like
Yeah,
the first 10 minutes, he dribbled past I think Kunde, and
yeah, he nutmeg
he
Kunde,
had
no?
a shot also. So yeah, he nutmegged Kunde and he had a shot. Good, very good skills, I think. And but then once Yamin Lamal got started involving in the game, I think he had to defend more than attack, right? So he faded off in the game, and maybe in the beginning I thought Marquinhos also playing on the right provided more stability, but again it did not work out at all. Like the first, compared to the first half, like so he had to switch it immediately. So like you said, Asensio had a very bad game, but I was surprised to see that he did not play Gonzalo Ramos or Colomani. I mean, like you have both very good, like strong, fast strike players, right? And Luis Enrique, I don't know, like Luis Enrique did not play both of them, but uh, he got in Barcola for in the halftime, so he played well. Like I thought he played well along with Vitinha. If I have to pick two, then it's Vitinha and Barcola along with Dembele because of the goal.
I think I have a different view than you, Rohit, and probably Sandy. I agree with Vitinha, though. Vitinha had an amazing game in the middle. He scored a goal as well. I think his first goal in the Champions League. With regards to Dembele, it was his second goal in Parc de France in the whole season, which is the amount of goals Rafinha has scored in Parc de France this season. So he's wildly inconsistent, and it was, if you watch the entire like phases where Dembele had the ball, he lost the ball more times. So the goal actually was I mean, a saving grace, I guess, because um, I think I remember some of the plays where he could have scored another goal. I believe where he scuffed the chance and it hit the post.
Yes.
So if I have to pick, I would pick Vitinha. I would pick Nuno Mendes. Yeah, Nuno Mendes
Mm.
actually did a really good job until he had to defend a lot because I think Mbappe was not offering a lot of defense from there, and Kunde and Yamal did a really good job there to keep Mendes quiet after the first quarter of the hour. Um, Other than that, I agree with Donnarumma's performance. It was pretty bad, and also I think Ramos came on in the second half, but
In
I
the last
agree with
five
Sandy.
minutes.
Oh yeah,
In the
yeah. The
last
last 5 minutes, I agree with Sandy. He should. I think Enrique should have gotten him way earlier, and it was very weird to see Mbappe playing out wide instead of playing a little bit interior.
Mhm.
And normally Enrique loves playing with a strong number 9. He did that with
Mm.
Barcelona, with Suarez. He did that in Spain with Morata, and I don't know why he went um, without the striker. Sometimes he does overthink big games, but you have to also remember that it was Enrique who did the La Remontada when when he was doing for Barcelona and PSG came to visit
PSG.
Camp Nou. Yeah, so yeah, we have to be wary
Mhm.
of that. Enrique comes back really well. So yeah, that's why I said the result is a good result, of course, but it's still an open game in Camp Nou.
If any of you are surprised about the frustration of Dembele from Abhishek, it's clearly from the Barcelona time that Dembele had.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
No, I was just saying like Luis Enrique, right? So I think Luis Enrique, Arteta, Xavi, and Pep, right? So there are four coaches from Barcelona in the in Champions League this time around. So I think
Yeah.
lot of lot of La Masia involved, I'd say. Mm.
Well, this guy was at La Masia for a bit, Ateta.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Arteta, Xavi,
Mm.
Pep, and Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
Four
So many
coaches,
of these
four
players have
games.
actually
Yeah,
won, many of these coaches have won the Champions League, right? Tuchel has won, Pep has won. Obviously,
yeah.
Ancelotti has won, Enrique has won.
Enrique has won.
Atletico Madrid, obviously, they've reached the final many times, they've never won.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to finish off this segment, what about the second leg? Do you think that Barcelona still has a chance to go through?
Still, Barcelona won the game. Barcelona has the
No, no,
lead.
I mean, yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like, do you think that because PSG is technically a stronger team on paper, at least, that's what I meant. Like, if uh, because they won the first leg, do you think that they still can do the job at home, or will they lose that lead?
I don't think so. I mean, if everyone is fit, and it looks like everyone is going to be fit next week, so Araujo, Kunde, especially to contain Mbappe, and I always think if you can contain Mbappe, then you can get through uh, at with PSG, right? So and I still remember like a few years ago when Ole knocked out PSG. At that moment, Neymar was injured, only Mbappe was there, and we had like Tuan Sebe and like I think Dalo on right. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, like when you have Pacey defenders against Mbappe, then you always have the chance to contain PSG or contain Mbappe is what I feel. Like the best way to contain him is have an equal paced defender against him. So uh, so there is a chance that if you have Araujo and Kunde, then there is always a chance for Barca. I still think they have a very strong chance to go through. That was my pick too, right? During our WhatsApp conversations, I said Barcelona will go through, and even
Yeah.
Arsenal would go through.
What do you think, Abhishek?
Yeah, I agree completely with Sandy, and like I mentioned earlier as well. Still an open game. Enrique is known for these weird changes right before the game, and sometimes it works out in his favor. and But the thing is, if you have everybody fit, um, like with the case of Barcelona with Pedri and Frankie coming back. This was Pedri's and Frankie's first game after injury in long, like I think like 2-3 months. So it will be a better. I think they will be a better match fit wise as well. But we will miss Christensen because he picked up a yellow, and he was actually really amazing when he came on. So we would need, I think, and even Sergio Roberto is out. So both of them are out for the next leg. So I believe it's going to be Pedri, Frankie Gunda, and Fermin Lopez starting the game. And I think Gunda and Frankie are gonna be the two CDMs, in the first phase of build up. So yeah, we have everything we need. If the script is gonna stay the same, I believe we have a good chance of going through.
Yeah, I think so. I think unless PSG do something crazy, I think Barcelona is looks like they're going to go through. Okay, that is a third of our four incredible quarterfinals. The last one is the one at Civitas Metropolitano. Atletico Madrid versus Dortmund. I think I said that Dortmund would be going through. Clearly, none of my predictions are coming to pass. Atletico Madrid played
Mhm.
well. They won 2-1, and I think they have a good stats as well. But we know how Atletico Madrid play, right? They defend deep and then counter attack. And I think this is the way to go in Champions League, and it has worked for Atletico Madrid for so long, and that's the way to do it. And they won this game, so it looks like they still have a very good chance. Sandy, what did you think? Atletico Madrid did well.
Yeah, I mean it went as we expected, right? Atletico Madrid, the way they play, the way they line up, with very deep low block. So it's they had 30% position compared to Dortmund 65, 33, 66 was
Yeah.
the stats. So and but interestingly, right? They scored first two goals, I guess, in first 30 minutes, and both the goals were mistakes, clear mistakes from Dortmund. Especially the first goal, Rodrigo De Paul's goal was a very big mistake from the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So uh, and then once Dortmund picked up, right? So they started playing really well. They had so many good chances, and in the last, like Brandt almost scored. He hit the post, and there was one other post also, like either from there was one other post also. So they played really well, Dortmund, once they went 2-0 down. So it's still an even game, I'd say. They have very good chance to qualify, but Atletico Madrid, right? They are devastating on counters, so, and they have
Yeah.
more experience in the Champions League. So but it'll be an interesting game, I feel. uh, Jadon Sancho also played really good, both on left wing and right wing, along with Adeyemi. So they have solid wingers, and Brandt, I guess, did not start this game, but he came at halftime. So, and I think like Sebastian Haller is better than Fulkrug.
For
So yeah, so maybe him starting ahead of Fulkrug in second leg can also help. So he's very effective.
Yeah, he did well after coming on, right?
Yep. He's the one who scored the goal for
Yeah,
Dortmund.
he scored. Okay, you're right about Atletico Madrid. Like you said, they're very good on the counter, and they have some very good finishers. Griezmann, Morata, Korea as well. I think they have players who can actually do the job when is on them to do it. Like when the few with the few chances they have, they can actually get a result. And but like you said, Dortmund at home are really a different beast. So Dortmund still has a good chance to go through. What did you think of the game, Abhishek?
Um, I was actually, switching back and forth.
Busy with the
But
other game.
the PSG, but
Hmm.
well, yeah, to the other game. The thanks UEFA for scheduling all of the games in the same time. But like I said, I think in the earlier podcast as well as mentioned, Simeone is Simeone, and with an inferior squad as well, he actually ended up taking Atletico to finals twice in the past like 8-10 years, and he can do it again. I mean, once not the finals, but at least till the semifinals. It was a good result from them. The thing with Simeone is you never know what he's cooking. Either it could be like a kamikaze great press, and which ended up with a goal for I think Lino who scored, or it could be like sitting deep 90% of the time and then waiting for a mistake to happen and then counter. So we saw both phases of it in the game during the game, which is funny. But I have to give kudos to Simeone. He had a really inferior squad, and I think he made all of the five changes because it was, they needed it. Aspilicueta started. I think they missed Hermoso in the defense. He's a really good defender, and I think he did make some weird choices with taking off Lorente and Lino, and I think they were playing really well. And Morata wasn't that good. The bits and pieces I saw, he, but Griezmann was amazing. He made the right choices
Hmm.
all the time, and yeah, I guess it's a very very good result. And Simeone is a specialist, and we will probably end up going through, I believe, unless there is a sudden surprise from Dortmund. But I feel like it's going to be ineffective in Alliance, not Alliance. I'm sorry, Signal Iduna Park. Um, uh, they have to rely on their counterattacks, Dortmund, and Atletico doesn't do that because they are going to sit deep like they always do. Um, Rohit, what did you feel, about the game? Are you willing to face Atletico Madrid in the finals from this side of the branch?
Huh. I think of the teams there, I it looks like Dortmund is sort of the weakest because of Atletico Madrid's incredible defensive awareness, defensive game. So, but Atletico Madrid has never won. I don't want them to win against Arsenal. Like I don't want them to get that result. Uh, if Arsenal make it through, but I think obviously I would prefer Dortmund to go through. But the other two teams on the other side definitely have a much bigger chance, PSG and Barcelona, to go through. One disappointing performance in this game was, I think, from Koke, because with his experience, with his know-how, with him having played so many games at this level, I think that the other players overtook him, and even though they performed very well, he was sort of disappointing for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that sums up Koke's career in a whole. Like he has been good in phases, and sometimes he just doesn't show up for really important matches. Seen him do that against Real Madrid. I've seen him do that against Barcelona. I've seen him do that against in Spain jersey as well. I wasn't like a big fan of Enrique picking Koke all the time. there were better choices at that time, and so I don't know why he did that. So yeah, I mean, he could have done better, and
And he wasn't
I agree with
substituted
that.
either.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
And
he's
another
his main player, right?
yeah, that's exactly like from a main player you're expecting, at least in the midfield, you're expecting more. But I guess DePaul has sort of taken over that role because of what he does for Argentina and what he does here. I think that he's taken over that role. So another disappointing performance, maybe not disappointing. Uh, Oblak is not the same player he was a few years ago. Obviously, Atletico Madrid don't have the same defense, but I think that I don't know how long goalkeepers actually hold on to that title of impenetrator force. Neuer has sort of lost it because of his injuries and so on. Oblak was sort of the best for a while then. Do you think that he's still there? You watch him more in La Liga. Do you think that he can provide a better composure for his defense, like from earlier years?
Yeah, for sure. Oblak is still one of the greats. Like you mentioned, when Neuer was down, it was Oblak, and he still is. In moments when you need him, he's there. It's just that the defense has weakened over the years, which has caused Oblak to, face more shots, I would say. Uh, um, in the away leg, as far as the away leg is concerned, I am worried about two things. First, from Atletico's perspective, which is Simeone, doing some weird changes, and also Hermoso coming in because he's the main defender, his actual defender in that makeshift line of defense they have. They have Witzel, they have Azpilicueta. Even though Azpilicueta has played centre back in a three-man lineup with Chelsea, but Hermoso is a natural centre back and he's a very good progressive passer as well. So I think he'll need them there. And also the entire midfield was atrocious for Atletico Madrid in second half. So I think I think last podcast I mentioned that Atletico Madrid is a team which capitalizes on those moments, and they did that this match. But to concede like 12 shots and that last Julian Brandt chance, the way they didn't control the narrative. So I am pretty sure that they're not going to do that in Signal Iduna Park as well. Like Sandy mentioned, 66% possession for Dortmund, which is amazing to have that in Wanda Metropolitano.
So, Sandy, what do you think about the next leg? What are you expecting from Atletico Madrid, Dortmund? One last thing.
I am expecting. I'd say like if Dortmund scores first, right, it will be an end-to-end game, and I'm expecting Dortmund to score. They are very strong at home, and they have a very good, promising
Mm-hmm.
lineup. I'd say very young, and both Adiemi and Sancho on the wings, with Julian Brandt and Marcel Sabitzer. They have goals in them for sure, and they scored one and they created so many chances in Atletico Madrid. So I'm pretty sure they will create some chances and they will score. And once if they score first, it will be an extremely interesting game to watch. And I also love Griezmann in knockouts. He's amazing. Like any knockout games, right? Both domestic and international. Even for France, we saw it lot of time,
International,
a
yeah.
lot of times the way he plays. And even today, he played. He was their man of the match, I guess, for Atletico Madrid. So the way he is aware, the way he defends, the way he starts counters, it's amazing. So and his experience will be super critical for Atletico Madrid in the away leg. So if I have to guess,
Wait,
based
wait,
on
wait, wait! Don't guess yet. We're gonna do like a round robin thing, where
okay,
each of us guess who's gonna go through for the next round without over explaining. So it's just the first team that you think in your mind is gonna go through.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
just
just
one
yeah.
word,
one
yeah.
word. Yeah.
Hmm.
So Rohit, you get started.
Arsenal and Real Madrid.
I will go next. It's gonna be City and Arsenal.
Sandy?
Hmm. Arsenal City for me as well.
Arsenal City. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. What about the other side? I myself would go with, I think I would stick with my earlier prediction and stick with Dortmund. On this side, I would have to change it to Barcelona. Dortmund and Barcelona.
I would go with my original prediction, Barcelona, and I think it's gonna be Dortmund.
Okay.
Dortmund, Barcelona. Mhm.
Hmm. For me, it's Barcelona Atletico Madrid. All English semi-final and all Spanish semi-final.
That's actually pretty
Nice.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm the only one hoping for Real Madrid to do their magic.
Yeah, I mean they have
Hmm.
done it before, so it's not too hard to
Yeah.
imagine that. I mean they have won games like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Incredible run of games this first leg and 18 goals. We can only hope for more of the same in the second leg because there are no away goals in this edition. So I think we can still expect the same. No one is going to defend except unless it's their they're in their DNA, like Atletico Madrid. Okay, before we finish, one last discussion about a big game last weekend, Liverpool and United. I think that United did crazy well to get a result against Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool had incredible number of chances, but United were able to do well to contain them. Maybe not contain them. Maybe Liverpool also missed out on many of them. So United did ride their luck, but the fact that they were able to score with the few chances they did is really good. Really good for them. 3 games they were not able to lose. They didn't lose against Liverpool at all. That's it has to be something that they're doing right. Sandy must be very happy with what happened.
Uh, yeah, I mean, is happy that United did not lose, definitely. But at the same time, I think we could have got more. All thanks to Darwin Nunes and his misses, for sure, in the first half. But yeah, first half really bad. Did not play well. Did not have control. But I thought second half United came back. Much very good pressing, trying to win balls up high, trying to do counter attacks, and and it resulted, right, like, so the first shot on goal was Bruno Fernandes goal, amazing goal from half line. But yeah, like that was the first shot of the
Yeah, that
game.
was their first shot. Yeah,
Yes, yes. First shot of the game, and I feel like we had that momentum to go, and that momentum helped Kobe Mino score a beautiful goal. And then again, right? Like I question Eric Ten Hag's substitutions a bit because we still had 20 minutes to go. I mean, it was 80 odd minutes, but in Premier League we are almost seeing 10 minutes of extra time, right? So
yep, yep.
every game. So I still feel like we had so much to go, and we had momentum, and everyone was doing well. But all of a sudden, he substituted Kobe Mino for Amrabat and moved Bruno to left wing. Right, so removed Hoyland, got
He
Rashford to
removed
the
Garnacho.
center.
Holland played. He
Yeah,
removed Garnacho for Amrabat. Yeah,
yeah, he
and
removed.
then 5 minutes later he removed Mino for Mount.
Yeah, Mino for Mount. So, oh, after it was 2-2, he removed Mino for Mount. And yeah,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
point, he got in Amrabat and moved Bruno to the left wing. So, and that Bruno was having a really good game in the center. A really, really good game. I mean, from so long I've been he was dictating the play. He was dictating counterattacks. He was in his groove. What Bruno does best, and then all of a sudden he moved him to the left wing, and you have to defend for the rest for 20 more minutes. So that shifted momentum to Liverpool, and then Aaron Wan-Bissaka's stupid mistake, I'd say. It Harvey Elliott's penalty was questionable, like we discussed earlier in the podcast, but but still, like you cannot tackle like that in the D.
Exactly.
That is
Yeah, true.
yeah, very reckless. So, and that happy that we did not lose from there. We still had 10 minutes to go. We defended it. So that's overall positive things to take away, but still like same old United this season, I feel.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Abhishek, what did you think about the penalty? You did talk about how it's not these sort of penalties are given in Premier League, not in outside Premier League. What did you think of the penalty?
Um, you know, I I would say that it's a it's different than what it was for the Saka one. First thing, and the second thing is Saka one was like a one-on-one where he had a way to just score. Man, he could have just scored. With the Elliot one, he had a lot of cover and he was in nowhere getting ready to
Hmm.
shoot. So it was weird that Wan-Bissaka got tackled right in the D.
Yeah, it
Um,
was unnecessary.
with the unnecessary, completely unnecessary, just like
Mhm.
Sandy mentioned. So yeah, it should have been given, and it was a 50-50 like you mentioned earlier in the podcast. But for Harvey Elliott's case, I don't think it was 50-50. It was more blatant penalty than it was. Wan-Bissaka did try to get his spider legs up in front of him, and he caught the right foot of Elliott, which is his like standing foot to shoot. So yeah, um that's a penalty for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that should never happen in the penalty box, even if it was sort of a dive. Yeah, you can't really uh, sort of even speculate about whether it's a penalty or not. It's a definite uh, tackle foul on Elliot, and it should be a penalty. And it's a pity because Liverpool actually come away with a point from this game. It even if Arsenal stays on top on goal difference, we it's still equal on points. So hope that both all we have to do, Arsenal has to do, is match Liverpool's games, right? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts before we end the podcast for today?
Nope, I think I'm good. We had an amazing fixtures of Champions League matches and Premier League as well, and I'm happy with the result. And hoping to Barcelona go through next to the semifinals.
Yep. Same here. Amazing football games, and looking forward to the second leg uh, and next week. So, along with good Premier League games also. So,
Okay, that's it from today. Thanks for listening in. Hopefully, we get a great round of Champions League games again, more Premier League games. We will catch you next time. A review of the quarterfinals. Hopefully, we'll be happy. Most of us, anyway. See you next time, guys. Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
bye.